I was rather frustrated by the dialogue around Legends Arceus. People saying it was good for a Pokemon game, but bad for an open world game. I mean, I love Breath of the Wild, but it's doing something fundamentally different from Arceus. Arceus is innovative, and not just for Pokemon, but for the monster taming space in general. People who like Arceus weren't looking for an open world game. They were looking for a monster taming game, and were excited to see one inspired by some open world ideas. So I wanted to know what else is being done in the monster taming space. Today, I want to tell you about Monster Sanctuary, and I just want to run through some of the things it is trying that I think have a lot of potential. Every battle is 3v3, so you're constantly thinking about how your monsters synergize. There's a combo meter that increases damage output as it goes up. This really changes team synergy. Essentially, every move in Monster Sanctuary is like Fury Swipes in Pokemon. It hits multiple times. So you might have two moves that hit for 200% damage, but the one hits 10 times for 20%, and the other hits 2 times for 100%. That means despite doing the same amount of damage, the first one will raise your combo meter by 10, and the latter will raise it only by 2. Each monster in your team gets one attack per turn, so you want to use moves that hit more times early in the turn to raise that combo meter, and moves that hit fewer times later in the turn to take advantage of that combo. Buffs and debuffs get more emphasis. I think in Pokemon, a lot of players get through the story by spamming high damage output moves, while buffs and debuffs seem to only get attention in the competitive scene. But in Monster Sanctuary, because every battle is 3v3, and because buffs and debuffs affect the combo meter, these moves get a lot more action. Your team heals between battles, which means the monsters can be higher level. When you can only heal at Pokemon centers, your team needs to be able to take out multiple other teams without healing, which in turn means the other teams need to be lower leveled and less threatening. But if you heal between battles, like in Monster Sanctuary, or like in the Pokemon Battle Tower, each battle can be a self-contained challenge. Type is decoupled from everything. Monsters don't have type. They have moves, and those moves have type. They have weaknesses and resistances, but these are individual to each monster and can be viewed before the battle. In Pokemon, it feels like I need to memorize charts and calculate each monster's weaknesses and resistances, and I end up just looking it all up anyway. Here, the information is displayed easily, and because it is different monster to monster, you can get a lot of mileage out of very few types. Perhaps the most interesting is the monsters who are weak to magic attacks and resist physical attacks, and vice versa. Monster Sanctuary does not have the defense versus special defense distinction seen in Pokemon, but these weaknesses and resistances work to integrate the same idea in a way that feels simpler and easier to build teams around. Wild encounters are graded on a 1 to 5 star scale. Monster Sanctuary's trainer battles are tough, and I suspect not every battle could be that tough without seriously exhausting most players. So the wild encounters are easier, but one of the ways they make these encounters less boring is by grading you. The higher your score, the more likely you are to get rare loot, so there's reason to think strategically, even in battles you could win with your eyes closed. There's a skill tree to make leveling up more consistently exciting. I noticed in Pokemon, I was more excited when I leveled up and got a new move. But Monster Sanctuary's skill tree is a way to make every level up feel eventful. It has a very smart design where each box only takes one skill point, so each level matters. But they hide some of the upper level skills behind these level barriers. There's more I could talk about, like the way monster abilities work with the overworld, or how shift stones are a twist on evolution mechanics, or how evolution is a twist on evolution mechanics, or the eggs. The eggs! And how the monsters from the eggs hatch close to your team's level, even if the wild encounters you got them from were underleveled, so you can change your team late game, but still feel like you've progressed going back to early areas, except you can also make those early area wild encounters higher level. If you want by talking to this chick, which is cool, but I don't want, because I want to feel like my monsters are super strong in low-level areas, but I think I've covered the main innovations that stuck out to me. Now, should you buy Monster Sanctuary? I think yes, because it's a really unique take on the genre, but I should also say I don't think I really enjoyed it as much as Pokemon, or most Pokemon. This video is not a review, it's a showcase of a game that's doing really interesting things in its genre, but I know it's going to read as a review, so a few words of caution. I think monsters are too bulky. This was probably done to make the buffs and debuffs more useful, but it results in these stalemates in trainer battles. In fact, to prevent the worst stalemates, the game has a mechanic where monsters start getting stackable attack boosts if a battle goes on too long. It's an okay solution, but often when a battle got to that point, it felt like it had dragged on a bit already. There's a mechanic where you equip 4 items to each monster to apply stat boosts and also feed it food for more stat boosts. I found this mechanic incredibly tedious for my casual playstyle. It is more accessible than EV or IV training, but the game expects you to do it to beat the game. I would recommend only paying attention to the items you've equipped right before trainer battles. Personally don't like the monster designs. You've seen them in this video, you can decide for yourself. This is a Metroidvania, which is to say that the overworld functions like a 2D platformer, but the platforming feels bad, which makes the puzzles feel tedious. Like Legends Arceus, Monster Sanctuary isn't a perfect game, but it is an interesting one, and one you should be playing if you have any interest in where this genre could go. If you want a review, I cannot say I enjoyed Monster Sanctuary as much as I enjoyed Legends Arceus, but I was more interested in what Monster Sanctuary had to offer the genre.